Totally.
Yeah.
It seems like it's all about getting out of the system, isn't it? Just getting out of the matrix, getting out of that debt cycle system that everyone's in. And, if you can extricate yourself from that, that's the biggest thing. Because if you start getting into massive amounts of debt, then you got to work jobs you don't like, and then you got to do all the stuff you don't want to do, spend time doing stuff because you're in debt and buying things and doing all this weird stuff that, if people could just not be in debt, that would be huge. You know?
I think, like I said, I really do think that something is, there's a tipping point that's about to happen. I think the markets are just too unstable, and there's just so much that isn't sustainable. It isn't working anymore. And people are becoming so aware of that.
Yeah.
And I think on a vibrational level, because so many people are focused on the fact that of new ideas and what does work, and visibly the system we have isn't working. I just think it's just going to fall apart.
It seems like, every empire eventually ends, Every empire eventually ends. So you were thinking all this when you're like 16?
Oh, early. As a child. As a child, one of my most significant thoughts that still blows me away as an adult is I was driving, my mom was driving the car, and I was so little that my legs were still like straight off the seat. And we were driving past an open field in Irvine, and I pictured what would have been there before all the buildings came up. And I saw deer, and I saw just animals, and I started to really see them. And so I tripped myself out as a kid, and I thought, how is it possible that they just showed up because I thought of them? And then so I asked my mom if she thinks we're actually here. I said, are we actually here?
Wait a minute. So you're in the car and you saw these animals?
It was an empty field, but I was imagining what it would have been like before people came in. And like, what if that was the wild? It was just like an empty lot. Irvine, even so long ago, there were still buildings. It was still built up. And so as a kid, it made me so curious, like, why is this gap here? And so I thought, once upon a time, there was wilderness where we are. And in that, I invented the animals in my head. And I thought, there's probably deer playing, and there's probably this, where the deer and the antelope play. It's probably, and I saw them. They appeared. They were so real. And then I thought, how could I have just conjured them up? So then I thought, what if everything is that?
It's just a made up illusion in our minds that we have no idea.
So I asked my mom, do you think we're actually here? Or we just think we're here, and we think we can see things, and we think we can touch things. And she just threw her head back and laughed, and I'm fuming.
How old were you?
5 or 6. I was super young.
Oh my gosh.
I was so upset that she gave zero thought to it. And she goes, we're here. And then, later in life, I've stumbled across so many philosophies where, in fact, this is an illusion. And things aren't as real as we think they are. And so when I came across that stuff, man, I was like, 6-year-old Jess was right. She knew it.
Did you go for a certain amount of time where you like started to think a different way, and then you sort of went back to the way you were at 6?
I've always been a seeker. I've always been a seeker, so I've always wanted the truth, but certain truths were presented to me by my parents through religion and through school that I was like, okay, this is the truth, and this feels good. This feels good, sort of. The power of a spirituality felt good to me, but then the actual going to church and things felt a little icky. And so, but nonetheless, I sort of had to undo that. So
how long were
yours.
How long were you going to church and all that?
Well, I had to go to church every weekend pretty much. And then when I was in junior high, I did like youth group. That's where all the friends were. Yeah. And and then through high school, I really up until sometime in college did I start wondering, what do all people in India are going to hell? All people who have never been brought up as a Christian are just going to go to hell.
They're going to burn forever.
I had it out with my parents. We had a major match.
Really?
And she if God has a special plan because if if they don't know about Jesus, then they won't go to hell. And so I'm like, well, why is everybody walking around telling them?
Yeah.
Why put them in the dilemma?
Right.
You're sending them to hell. Allow for ignorance then. She's like, it doesn't work like that. Well, tell me how it works.
Yeah.
And
then she's got to make up stuff because everyone interprets the Bible different.
She doesn't know.
Yeah.
And that's also another unfolding. So your parents don't have all the answers. My parents
that's huge.
My dad's a doctor. My mom was a nurse. I had so much respect for them. And
everything's like everything. There's an answer for everything in that, right? Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, they don't know.